Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this amazing Long Island Org Sunday service we have put together today. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which will deal with what is greatness and how somebody can exercise greatness during this very difficult time with the pandemic. But as we're waiting for other people to join, let's just smile a little bit. Oops. There you go.
So I have to turn the slide on? No.
Down, you can't go to
Just make it down.
Okay.
Just make it down.
Okay. Hey guys, all right.
Let's talk about something that ain't dangerous. How about this? Some things may be a little strange for us, but listen to this.
Yeah, we could start a new direction, affecting the future ahead. Spreading smiles from miles, a new kind of trend.
Want a new style? How about this? Let's talk about something that's courageous. How about this?
Let's talk about something that's outrageous.
Put this at the top of your list.
Yeah, we could start a new direction, affecting the future ahead.
Spreading smiles for miles, a new kind of trend. Want a new style? Hey.
How about this?
Come on, hit me up with the pickup, y'all.
If you're stuck and wanna sit at home,
Live it up, live it up, live it up for me.
you're not alone. We can make this world one quarantine. Pick it up, just pick it up. Take this shot with me. Spread a smile, not something else. 'Cause this world is really needing your help. Spread a smile and nothing more. And we'll show this world it can be restored. You wanna smile?
Ooh.
How about this?
Oh, yeah.
If you're stuck and gonna sit at home, live it up, live it up, live it up with me. We can live this world while quarantined. Pick it up, just pick it up.
Take this shot.
Shot with me, yeah.
Not something else.
This world is really needing your help. Spread a smile and nothing more. Nothing more. Show this world it can be restored. Staying well and stay strong. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Show this world it can be restored. You wanna smile? How about this?
Awesome. All right. And before we go with the sermons, with today's sermon, we're going to just hear the creed of the Church of Scientology.
We of the Church believe
that all men of whatever race, color, or creed
were created with equal rights
that all men have inalienable rights,
to their own religious practices and their performance,
That all men have inalienable rights
to their own lives, that all men have inalienable rights
to their sanity,
that all men have inalienable rights
to their own defense,
that all men have inalienable rights
to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments.
that all men have inalienable rights
to think freely, to talk freely,
to write freely their own opinions,
and to counter or utter
or write upon the opinions of others.
That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind.
That the souls of men have the rights of men.
That the study of the mind
and the healing of mentally caused ills
should not be alienated from religion
or condoned in non-religious fields.
And that no agency less than God
has the power to suspend or set aside these rights, overtly or covertly.
And we of the Church believe
that man is basically good,
that he is seeking to survive,
that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows,
and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe.
And we of the Church believe
that the laws of God forbid man
to destroy
his own kind,
to destroy the sanity of another,
to destroy or enslave another's soul,
to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group.
And we of the Church believe
that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body.
So we live during a time where there is a constant restimulation out there. The stimulation that comes from media, the stimulation that comes from one another, the stimulation that comes from governments, the stimulation that comes from simple people. And you see across the globe, not only protest, but you see violence, not necessarily much different than you could see 30 years ago or 50 years ago or maybe 100 years ago. But in the midst of all this, and since we know that at the end of the day, what we observe in terms of the behaviors of our people out there, and I'm not talking necessarily about suppressives, I'm just talking about people who are basically good. Having that in mind, how do we maintain a spirit of greatness? So, what is greatness? The hardest task one can have is to continue to love his fellows despite all reasons he should not. And the true sign of sanity and greatness is to so continue. For the one who can achieve this, there is abundant hope. For those who cannot, there is only sorrow, hatred, and despair. And these are not the things of which greatness or sanity or happiness are made. A primary trap is to succumb to invitations to hate. There are those who appoint one their executioners. Sometimes, for the sake of safety of others, it is necessary to act, but it is not necessary also to hate them. To do one's task without becoming furious at others who seek to prevent one is a mark of greatness and sanity. And only then can one be happy. Seeking to achieve any single desirable quality in life is a noble thing. The one most difficult and most necessary to achieve is to love one's fellows despite all invitations to do otherwise. If there is any saintly quality, it is not to forgive. Forgiveness accepts the badness of the act. There is no reason to accept it. Further, one has to label the act as bad to forgive. Forgiveness is a much lower level action and is rather censorious or critical. True greatness merely refuses to change in the face of bad actions against one. And a truly great person loves his fellows because he understands them. After all, they are all in the same trap. Some are oblivious of it, some have gone mad because of it, some act like those who betrayed them. But all are in the same trap. The generals, the street sweepers, the presidents, the insane. They act the way they do because they are all subject to the same cruel pressures of this universe. Some of us are subject to those pressures and still go on doing our jobs. Others have long
Miriam, it never speaks, but it's 99.9.
And rave and torture and strut like the demented souls they are. To resave some of them is a dangerous undertaking. Were you to approach many ruling heads in the world and offer to set them free as only a Scientologist can, they would go berserk, cry up their private police, and generally cause unpleasantness. Indeed, one did. He was later assassinated by no desire of ours, but because of the incompetence of his own fellows about him. He could have used Scientology. Instead, he promptly tried to shoot it down by ordering raids and various berserk actions on Scientology organizations. That he was then shot had nothing to do with us, but only demonstrated how incompetent and how mortal he really was. As we become stronger, we can be completely open-handed with our help. Until we do, we can at least understand that the one fact that greatness does not stem from savage wars or being known. It stems from being true to one's own decency, from going on helping others, whatever they do or think or say, and despite all savage acts against one. To persevere without changing one's basic attitude towards men. A fully trained Scientologist is in a far better position to understand than a partly trained one. For the Scientologist who really knows is able not only to retain confidence in himself and what he can do, but also can understand why others do what they do. And so knowing does not become baffled or dismayed by small defeats. To that degree, true greatness depends on total wisdom.
they act as they do because they are what they are. Trapped beings, crushed beneath an intolerable burden. And if they have gone mad for it and command the devastation of whole nations in errors of explanation, still one can understand why and can understand as well as the extent of their madness. Why should one change and begin to hate just because others have lost themselves and their own destinies are too cruel for them to face? Justice, mercy, forgiveness, and are all unimportant beside the ability not to change because of provocation or demands to do so. One must act, one must preserve order and decency, but one need not hate or seek vengeance. It is true that beings are frail and commit wrongs. Man is basically good, but can act badly. He only acts badly when his acts done for order and the safety of others are done with hatred, or when his disciplines are founded only upon safety for himself, regardless of all others, or worse, when he acts only out of state for cruelty. To preserve no order at all is an insane act. One need only look at the possessions and the environment of the insane to realize this. The able keep good order. When cruelty in the name of discipline dominates a race, that race has been taught to hate, and that race is doomed. The real lesson is to learn to love. He who would walk scatheless through his days must learn this. Never use what is done to one as a basis for hatred. Never desire revenge. It requires real strength to love man, and to love him despite all invitations to do otherwise, all provocations, and all reasons why one should not. Happiness and strength endure only in the absence of hate. To hate alone is the road to disaster. To love is the road to strength. To love in spite of all is the secret to greatness, and may very well be the greatest secret in this universe. Scientology is the path to wisdom and greatness. Wherever you are on that path, you should read What is Scientology? It will help you discover what your next step is and answer any questions you may have. It's an amazing reading that we had today. You can definitely unmute your microphones. I'm going to unmute those who have actually made the call and they are not in a computer, because I don't know if they are able to unmute themselves. But what prompted me to read to you this today is all of this kind of craziness that takes place out there. There are people who are protesting, but there are people also who vandalize it. There are people in the government that they are not only trying to protect innocent, but they are trying to make political statements by really hurting protesters. There are people who are taking extremes, the one side on the other side. But when we really observe that and understanding
that all these activities come from truly a reactive mind that becomes restimulated and gets expressed with violence and suppression. Then, as a Scientologist, because we know better, we cannot get into that trap. Start hating the one side or hating the other side or hating the third and fourth and fifth side or any side. We have to understand which each of these sides are coming from, and then we have to try to bring a greater level of understanding to our fellows out there, to our fellow humans. Because when they come into a greater understanding, then they'll be able to perhaps exercise more discipline in what they do, adjust their thinking process, and maybe start doing more good than bad. So anyway, your comments, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's all true. I got a lot out of it. I actually had to take a call in the middle. I didn't even get to do the whole thing. But even from the beginning, you know, it takes a lot of, and I never thought about it in terms of the third and fourth dynamic, Mimi. That was enlightening what you said, because the world is so polarized. I mean, so many people hate the president like vehemently, and a lot of people love him, but so many people hate him, and it's like split the country in half. And then with the Black Lives Matter, there's so many people that are supporting this, which is a good thing. And then there's so many people that immediately think that it's something bad and they fight against it. And that's polarized just as much. And I think you're right. We could apply this to all the dynamics. And I also, you know, there's people that have given me trouble in my life, but what good is it hating? Because that's gonna take up so much energy in your mind and theta energy. Might as well let it go and take whatever actions are needed, but don't put out a flow of hate or dislike, because it's just not gonna help anything. So very, very helpful. I mean, this I'm gonna, like I said last week, I'm gonna rewatch this one because they're so basic and so key to life. So thanks for bringing it back up to our attention.
Thank you. And my goodness, we have Brian back after a long time. How are you, my friend? So good to see you, Brian. Hold on, you are muted. Hold on. You have to unmute.
Hold on.
There you go. How are you doing, man?
The whole social distancing thing, you know? I didn't even know. I just heard it was happening.
Oh my God. That's
we
great.
understand.
I love that. I love that. Oh, shit.
Awesome. Awesome.
You know, I just went for a jog. There's a lot of people out there. They're real friendly, you know? You should go out and say hello to people.
Awesome. Absolutely. Are you in New York or in Florida, Brian?
I'm in beautiful East Meadow.
All right. Yay. Awesome. Very good. We have Manny also on the call. Hi, Manny. How are you? I don't know if you can unmute your computer. You have to unmute if you want to say something. We have Malcolm, we have Wendy, and we have Norm. So if you guys want to make any comments, you can.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm using a different microphone. One of my thoughts I had a lot recently, like you've been talking about the conflicts, like in the media, try to get everybody to hate the other side, and whatever side you're on, you know, the other guy's evil and you should hate them. But I wish somehow we could get more people to know about the third party law or whatever, because really, who is this? Not that there's one third party, but there's at least one third party, I would imagine, instigating everybody to be hating these other sides. That is, you know, they represent the different sides as totally opposite, and they don't have any similar values or beliefs or agreements on anything. And, you know, who's instigating it all is what I wonder. Anyway.
Yeah, understood. Absolutely. And there are definitely those who want to disempower people by third-party things so that they can keep people fighting, you know? It's part of the trap.
Yeah, it's emerging the chaos, whatever they profit from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Demetrius.
Yeah, Brian.
Do you mind if I give you a quote about this that has to do with what we're talking about?
Sure, absolutely. Read it.
Okay, cool. Somebody sent me this recently. It's from Wise, and it's pretty cool. It's from February 1365, and it says, instead of worrying day and night about what the federal government is or is not going to do, instead of worrying about the fact that we apparently have no sweepingly effective leaders, and instead of worrying about what they did do or didn't do, or what the Army says or didn't say, or what the Navy says about the Army and so forth, instead of worrying about this sort of thing, would it not be possible to just skip it? That's a rather startling proposal. But just skip it and be effective by making it possible for a country to exist sometime in the future. Instead of worrying about whether it exists now or whether it's functioning now, let's just get down to the grassroots and begin to grow a country, person by person, guy by guy, IQ by IQ. And sooner or later, these people will be smart enough to find some leaders and get the show on the road. L. Ron Hubbard.
Awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Wow. Nice. Pretty amazing, man. Thank you very much for sharing it. And so true and so applicable right now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, here we go. Here's what he's saying about this.
Awesome.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, let's just train up people. I'm using this stuff in my business. Let's get them going. They don't know. Clear words with them.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Anybody else wants to share something? Okay. All right. I am going to just play the essay on personal integrity.
What is true for you is what you have observed yourself. And when you lose that, you have lost everything. What is personal integrity? Personal integrity is knowing what you know. What you know is what you know. and to have the courage to know and say what you have observed. And that is integrity. And there is no other integrity. Of course, we can talk about honor, truth, nobility, all these things as esoteric terms. But they would all be covered very well if what we really observed was what we observed. That we took care to observe what we were observing. That we always observed to observe. And not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude, a critical attitude, or an open mind. Not necessarily maintaining these things at all. But certainly maintaining sufficient personal integrity and sufficient personal belief and confidence in self and courage that we can observe what we observe and say what we have observed. Nothing in Scientology is true for you unless you have observed it. And it is true according to your observation. That is all.
Wow, a time cannot pass by where I listen to this and I don't get cognitions from it all the time. So anyway, just some announcements. This coming Monday, we have the OT committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. But after the OT committee meeting at 7 p.m., we are going to have Mr. Clive Raby, Deputy Captain of Flag AO, who will give a very special briefing. And it is very important that we attend. Last night, there was an awesome Ideal Org event, a Freedom event, was very good. And I don't know what was fundraised at the end, but was pretty great. Either anybody from the org or from Wendy, any announcements?
You got me covered with those two events, the OT committee and the event on Monday.
Okay.
If you want to attend that, which I really think you should, just text me and I'll send you, it's a conference call. It starts at 7 o'clock on Monday. So text me and I will send you the conference call number.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, guys. And I am going to close with the prayer for total freedom. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand so that all may come to know the author of the universe. And may others also reach this understanding, which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for those who are brutalized, trapped, or attacked. We pray that human rights will be preserved so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty and want, freedom to be, freedom to do, and freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like. And freedom to achieve that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. LRH. So thank you guys for joining this OT Committee Sunday service. And we'll see you guys next week, next Sunday, for another Sunday service. Until then, see you tomorrow night on OT Committee meeting, and have a fantastic, productive week. Take care, everyone.
All right, guys. Everybody invite somebody next week.
Yes. You need to invite get some more people.
I invited 2 people just as it was starting, and I don't think they came on. But in the middle of the week, just invite 1 person. This is too good to not share.
Awesome. All right. Take care,
guys.
Bye.
Take care. Have a great week, guys.